Okay, we are trying take number 2 here in the Ultimate Baby Sleep Group. I tried a few minutes ago. I kept getting disconnected to come in and do a live for all of you. All right, let's pull up everything here on my computer to see what is going on. We are here tonight. Now, I know I don't normally do lives at night, but I am here now because I was wanting to do this on a Friday, but that didn't end up working out, so I think we're going to have to go back to our regular Wednesdays. In any case, this week's question thread, well, actually last week's, we have a question thread every Monday with a certain theme, a certain topic. Last week's was dream feeds, and I was all excited to come in and talk to you all about dream feeds and what they are and how they work. And then Friday ended up getting crazy, wasn't able to come in, and as much as I'm not a night person, I thought I would come in and do this because it's a really important topic that I really want you all to learn about and understand a lot more deeply. So I'm going to pull up all of your questions as I was running a little late here. But in general, how it works here in the group is every Monday we have a certain question thread with the theme. This week, well, really this past Monday's was dream feeds. Sometimes it's cat naps, sometimes it's night terrors, sometimes it's newborns, sometimes it's bedtime battles, power struggles, you name it. We've had it. If we haven't had it, we hope to have it soon. And then I come in here, try to come in on Thursdays, actually. Wednesdays or Thursdays. But this past week was Friday, got a little flop, and answer you and talk about it. And the reason we do that is so you can understand certain concepts in a lot more depth, understand a lot of the detail behind why you're doing certain things, and hopefully get some of your questions answered so you can see sleep results in your home. All right? Now, that's how that works. Now, one exciting announcement is our contest ended on Friday. So I don't actually normally work on the weekends so much at all. So I wasn't able to tally it all up and put all the things into our app that's going to randomly pick. But our contest ended on Friday. So tomorrow we are going to be announcing the winners. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay, because the contest already ended. But for those of you who were entering and inviting friends and tallying up all your entries, you're going to find out tomorrow, Monday, we are going to announce the winners. So tomorrow I'm going to come on in, I'm going to announce the winners, and I'm really excited. I don't even know who they are yet because I have to put them all into the system tomorrow morning. And based on how many entries, it's just totally picked at random that 2 lucky winners are going to be winning a spot in Rested Moms Club. So I'm so excited. You're going to get to work one-on-one with me. We're going to fix all your sleep issues. It's going to be fun. All right. So dream feeds is the topic from this past week. Now, let's first talk about what dream feeds are. Very controversial. Of course, I have a lot to say on it, but let's just start with the actual explanation of what it is that we were talking about. Often referred to as a dream feed, a lot of people find that it's very helpful to wake their baby up while they are sleeping, typically around the 10-11 p.m. mark. Give them a full feed while they're sleeping in hopes that it will take them up and hold them out to sleep longer. Now, I'm not going to say I don't like it, and I'm not going to say I do like it, because it really can work differently for every baby. Some babies beautifully respond to it. It helps them transition back to sleep before they've even really woken up and can give them a solid 8-9 hours from that time until the morning. But some babies have a complete adverse effect and are woken up from their sleep, have an even more difficult transitioning back to sleep, and things can just spiral negatively out of control. What I like to do is something different. I don't like to call it a dream feed, and I'll tell you why, okay? The idea of waking up your baby while they are sleeping, while they're in the middle of a sleep and picking them up while they are sleeping to feed them in the middle of their sleep, doesn't necessarily contribute to their nighttime calories in a way that you would think, okay? Now, what can often happen is the purpose of tanking them up is so potentially if you feed them around 10-11 and they wake up somewhere around 1-2, you know they're not hungry, right? You know they're not hungry because, gosh, I've already fed them, so there's no way they can be hungry. But sometimes oftentimes it's extremely difficult to ascertain if your baby's waking up out of hunger, if your baby's waking up out of habit. So your baby could still wake up 2, 3, 4 times more in the night, and you're still not 100% certain because, number one, if they're nursing, you don't know how much they had. You don't know if they're just sucking in their sleep. You don't know how many calories they're actively gulping down and taking. If they're bottle fed, likelihood is they're going to be in this half asleep state that they're not really going to be able to finish it. So what I actually like to do for babies under 3 months is I like to do something else, okay? I call it the holdout feed. For those of you who have worked with me or taken my newborn program, then you'll know what I'm talking about. This is only for babies under 3 months. For babies under 3 months, I actually recommend fully waking them up. Yes, I know, counterintuitive It goes against everything you ever thought to never wake up a sleeping baby, but as always, I like to keep it all exciting in here, but it's the truth, okay? Under 3 months of age, what typically happens is, actually this happens up until about 6-7 months of age. Until about 6-7 months of age, after your baby has slept for about 4 to 4.5 hours, what happens is their bodies start transitioning into a deeper sleep. So I like to catch them, oops, hit my water bottle. I like to catch them before they're at that place of transitioning to a deeper sleep, tank them up, so to speak, but help them kind of mirror the bedtime process again and learn to settle back down even better. So I call it the holdout feed. So until about 6 months or so, all babies start to transition into a deeper sleep around 4 to 4.5 hours after they've gone to bed for the night. But before 3 months of age, what I recommend doing around 10:15, 10:30, I recommend actively waking your baby up and giving them about half a feed. Whether you're nursing, you give them one side. If they're bottle fed, give them half the bottle, whatever the case may be. Hang out with them, change their diaper, stimulate them. Yeah, I'm telling you to stimulate them in the middle of the night. This is when we're trying to promote longer stretches of sleep in the night. Then after about a half an hour, turn the lights off, get them cozy, wrap them on up, keep it dark, and give them the second half and allow them to drift off to dreamland. What this does is it helps them reset that pre-bedtime process and initiate that cycle of falling into a deeper sleep. But that's babies only under 3 months. Past about after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I do not recommend doing a dream feed. I do not recommend waking up a sleeping baby. I do not recommend picking up a baby in their sleep to feed them because you could potentially be disrupting their ability to sleep for longer stretches. Now, those of you who've worked with me know that I have different ways I like to do this because I want to maximize a baby's sleep when you are sleeping. But on the same token, you have to work with each child's internal rhythms and what their body naturally wants to do. Okay? What did you ask? Let's see. Hang on. I have a daughter that will be 5 months old next week. I do dream feed her before I go to bed around 12, but she still wakes up the same time every night. Even before I start the dream feed, she wakes up at 2 and then 3 and then 4. And every time I calm her at 4, she goes back to sleep till 6. What should I do to let her sleep 5-6 hours? So it sounds like exactly this is a typical case of people thinking this is what's going to help. And I'm not saying this is you thinking it's going to help, but there's much more beneath the surface here than more than just calories. We're talking about habit. We're talking about sleep dependencies. There's a lot more beneath the surface that, of course, a dream feed or this little holdout feed I recommended for a baby under 3 months, it's going to help, but there's a lot more to the picture here. And we want to make sure we can help your baby learn to fight against that and learn to actually connect the sleep cycles and transition back to sleep, because feeding more often is only helping really kind of thwart the momentum of a continual habit that's being formed there. Okay, so let's see. I dream feed before I went to bed. It helps his body learn to wake up less often. Yes, so in some cases it does. I'm just breezing through the questions here. Okay, people are wondering really just in general what this dream feed is and when is a good time to really incorporate it. So like I said, I passed about 3, maybe even 4 months of age. I really don't recommend actively waking your babies up at all because a few things can happen, okay? If you've seen my videos on bedtime battles and night bottles and night wake-ups, you know that habit can turn into a real avid hunger. So you don't want to create a dependency on something that your baby might otherwise be able to sleep through. So if you wake your baby up every single night at 10:30 p.m., then eventually they start to develop a real hunger. And let's say their internal clock is also set to eat at 2 a.m. So you've only increase the amount of calories that they're going to be having at night, increase the amount of bottles, increase the amount of times that they're going to wake up at night, and then only kind of has things spiral backward negatively. Now, I'm not going to say in 0 circumstances is there ever a good time to offer this dream feed, because in some cases I will say to do it. But more often than not, past the 3-4 month mark, it's really better to help your baby's body naturally fall into certain patterns and see, because if you have a baby that can go 8, 9, 10 hours, they might naturally want to sleep that first section for 8, 9, 10 hours, and then you can gradually start to shift it. But you have to give them the opportunity to see how long they can actively go. And sometimes we're so excited to get over-involved, so excited to use this method or that method or this approach that we actually can disrupt their sleep cycles, disrupt their ability to sleep longer, and when they could otherwise go 8, 9 hours, no, we're only letting them go 3 because we started waking them up. We started doing this. So that's really, really, really how I feel, and I've seen it time and time again with so many families. But like I said, before the 3-4 month mark, I definitely recommend trying my method because it really helps reset. But as they get older, things can really spiral negatively to a bad place, and you can actually be disrupting your baby's sleep cycles more than helping them. Okay? A lot of people wanted to know when they'll see this. How's it going to work? Yeah, okay, fine. So we ended up doing this a little bit later, as you all know. Let's see, here's another one. Naomi, my daughter is 3 months old and she's a great sleeper. Aubrey helped. Aubrey's awesome, of course, as always. So this is the same thing here. You give her a dream feed, but she's still waking up. How much did you give it the dream feed? When do you stop it? Should you give it at a specific time? Okay, so the dream feed, like I said, if you're going to do it, I recommend doing it for younger babies about 4 to 4.5 hours after they've gone down for the night. So if your baby's going to sleep at 7, somewhere around 10, 11-ish, somewhere in that window. And you offer a full feeding, whatever that means. A full nursing, a normal bottle amount, whatever that is. Now, if you have a baby that's consistently doing a dream feed and it's working for you, then by all means don't fix it. You don't have to get rid of it. But as your baby gets older, as your baby gets better and better at upkeep with their calories during the day and is actually physically able to last longer with their sleep, you can start working on phasing that out, because what you want to do is enable your baby to go from 8, 9 hours to 10, 11 hours to 12 hours, because if you keep up the dream feed, number one, like I said, you could potentially be disrupting the sleep cycle. Number two, your baby's going to develop that drastic hunger association and that need for it, and that's only going to make things worse. So you'll see in some of my sample schedules that we have here, I call it the holdout feed, waking up for a feed. But you'll also see around 5 months or so it disappears, because I really only recommend doing it for littler babies. So that's the rundown. Of course, every family has to pick what's right for them. Every family has to pick what they feel is the best decision. And you know your baby at the end of the day, right? You know what works, you know what doesn't work. And if you've tried this and you've seen success with it, I'm not going to say that in every situation it's a bad idea. But if you're working on your baby's sleep and your goal ultimately is to maximize night sleep, then going about working with their rhythms instead of a certain process is always the best way to do that, right? Last week's question thread, we talked about the 2-3-4 method, and I talked about this a lot. There's not always like a direct solution that's going to fix the problem. As much as it is, you have to figure out what rhythmically works with your baby. If your baby's in a deep solid sleep, and your baby's 6, 7, 8 months old, and they're in a really deep sleep between 7 and 1 a.m., why would you disrupt that sleep to feed them when they're anyway going to continue waking up at 1 or 2 a.m.? You're only incorporating an extra feeding and making it more difficult for them, right? So you want to see how much sleep your baby can really get and how you can maximize it and distribute it in such a way that you're knowing that they're going to be eating enough, you know they're going to be getting enough, but on the same token, you're not causing an actual hunger association to be created unnecessarily, okay? We're talking babies after 3-4 months. Before 3-4 months, I definitely recommend it because it can help, and then you can phase yourself out of it. So I know I normally do a lot longer lives, but I'm so tired and beyond not a night person, guys. I just wanted to come in because I promised you all I would. But this is what I have to say about dream feeds. Definitely, I'll come in tomorrow morning. If you have more to ask me or more to say, post in the comments below and I will answer you. Tomorrow, stay tuned. We're going to be announcing our winners who won the contest, the 2 spots to the Rested Moms Club. So stay tuned. Have a great night, and I will see you all bright and early tomorrow.